Bud Light. Got to get your take on the boycott. So you just brought up Anheuser-Busch. Bud Light's getting hit as hard as I've ever seen it.
Why would you want to drink Bud Light? I mean, like, honestly, that's like them rubbing our faces in it. And it's like these companies that do this, if they never have any response, they're just going to...
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Corner. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. Bud Light's really getting it from all directions, literally every direction. And now we've got bars who are publicly saying they've removed the product entirely from their bar. And we had Ron DeSantis completely dunk on them yesterday. And a new ad that, of course, went viral as people keep saying that sales aren't being affected. And maybe we'll have to wait to find out, but it certainly would be extremely difficult to believe when you have so much going on, so many bars pulling the product, so many customers canceling it. There's just no way that it isn't going to happen. By the way, quick reminder, today is the launch day for thepublica.com, which is my news site. We've got 5 or 6 writers. We've got, Savannah Hernandez on the go for on-the-ground reporting. We've got podcasts coming out in just a few weeks with Lauren Southern, with Anna Slatz. I've got a show, Directed But Not Read. And I've got a promo code for 50% off your first month. We're going to really do something amazing. We've got a members-only Discord as well. Please consider signing up today. Promo code The Quartering. Don't let Sydney Watson beat me today in signups today. DeSantis spoof Bud Light ad goes. See, what'll be great is next time, by the end of the month, I'll be reading this from thepublica.com and not The Hill. That's the real goal here. So I'm not the read everyone else's article guy. I'm reading my own articles, or at least my company's own articles. That's the dream. So Florida Governor Ron DeSantis released a spoof Bud Light ad Monday night going after the real men of women's sports. Of course, spoofing the real man of genius thing. Today we recognize the men who have hacked the system, the ad says. Once mediocre in the men's division, now the cream of the crop in the women's division. Well, let's just see the ad because I haven't seen it yet. I saw this. Okay, let's see. It's 34 seconds long. This is from DeSantis War Room and has 300,000 views. In Florida, girls play girl sports and boys play boys sports. Can you, it is so, we are in such a weird, wild world, aren't we? We're very normal things that we all agree on, that everyone, for millennia, there's never been any question about it. Now it's an advertising thing. Move to our state where we let boys play boy sports and girls play girl sports. That's why we're replacing the Bud Light with a Freedom Heavy made 100% woke free. Let's see. Team DeSantis.
Team DeSantis presents
Real Man of Women's Sports.
Real men of women's sports. Okay.
Today we recognize the men who've hacked the system.
Hack the system.
That is the biological male that won weightlifting. This is a biological male that's winning a MMA fight. All right, let's continue.
It's mediocre in the men's division, now cream of the crop in the women's.
From mediocre to champion.
You couldn't cut it with the boys, so you pushed women off the podium.
Real man, still first place.
Oh my God. This is great because it's combining two issues. Obviously, the biological men competing in biological women's categories in sports, which it's every normal non-ideologue on the planet agrees with. There isn't anybody out there that thinks that that's fair, that literally thinks it's fair, outside of woke women who have left the sport or retired and are suddenly advocating for that. What's her name? The soccer player, right? That broad. She's oh yeah, I'd be totally fine playing against biological males now that I have a Subway deal and all these advertising deals and I'm way past my prime in the sport.
Because without you, sports would be fair. Without you, women's sports
Whoa.
would be for, well, women.
Oh, and they're selling their freedom heavy stuff. So like in the ad released by DeSantis' rapid response account on Twitter spoofs Budweiser's Real Men of Genius commercials, which poked fun at men who wore toupees, were bad dancers, wore too much cologne, among other things. DeSantis' spoof ad targets trans women's participation in women's sports, featuring prominent trans athletes such as American swimmer Leah Thomas and New Zealand weightlifter Laurel Hubbard. The feud with Bud Light comes after the company partnered, obviously, with Mulvaney. We're not going to go down that road again. Everyone kind of knows the deal there. Why would anyone want to drink Bud Light? DeSantis said in a recent interview. I mean, like, honestly, that's like them rubbing our faces in it. And it's like these companies that do this, if they ever have any response, they're just going to keep doing it. This one is one you don't have conservative beer drinkers, you're going to feel that. So this one is one, if you don't have conservative beer drinkers, you're going to feel that way. Budweiser released a new ad campaign on Monday featuring its classic Clydesdale horses galloping in front of several American landmarks, of course, but that also failed. I mean, and this is at the heart of it, too. Written earlier today, Riley Gaines skewers Leah Thomas over trans swimmer's latest, quote, heartbreaking claim. In an appearance on Piers Morgan Uncensored, Gaines, a former University of Kentucky star, cited the words of Thomas, who competed for the University of Pennsylvania men's team before switching to the women's team. Gaines, who has been increasingly outspoken in the cause of protecting female athletes, shout out to her, and by the way, more women need to do that, said it is men posing as women who are stealing opportunities. Leah Thomas was quoted saying, quote, "It breaks my heart to see trans kids lose out on opportunities," Gaines told Morgan. Then continues, quote, "Replace that word with woman. Does it still break Thomas's heart to see women lose out on opportunities? Because that's what's happening." Thomas tied last year Gaines for 5th place in the NCAA finals of the women's 200-meter race, but it was Thomas who was initially awarded the medal. Gaines believed that decision was part of the NCAA's effort to promote Thomas. Quote, "For my experience competing against Leah Thomas," by the way, biological man, who dates women from what if I remember correctly, "I watched firsthand women lose out on opportunities," Gaines said. "I watched women not become All-Americans, missing that 8th and 16th place by 1 place because they were displaced by a male. This, of course, goes against everything that Title IX was created to protect, and now we have the Biden administration, the people in the White House, who are actively working to rewrite Title IX. Title IX states that no person in the United States shall, on the basis of their gender, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subject to discrimination under any educational program or activity receiving federal assistance." After Representative Katie Porter, Democrat of California, criticized Gaines, claiming she had voiced her strong opinion about men competing against women in order to, quote, "get likes and clicks," which is crazy because this is a woman that actually competed, right? Quote, Gaines fired back saying, you can't help but to laugh. It's ironic. It's always women fighting against women's protected spaces and rights. "I'm speaking for every female athlete, not just myself," she said. "I'm done competing. This isn't about me. But I know what's at stake if someone doesn't use their voice. I have a younger sister. I just got married. I can only hope one day to have a daughter. I can't imagine being in this position and not fighting for them." Well, yeah. I mean, I 100% agree. This is all kind of part of the same conglomerate of conversations going on where people really want to, it's like people want to just ignore reality and pretend that, oh, of course they don't have, an advantage. But then like they tweet and, nobody in private would actually think that a biological male competing against a biological female in a feat of strength is a fair thing to do. In March, Rapinoe, who's a huge loser, the women's soccer player, quote, "Today politicians in DC are claiming to protect women's sports by pushing a trans sports ban. Call your congressional rep today and say women's sports need protection from unequal pay, lack of resources, not from trans kids." What is it with this trans kids thing? It's like, oh, not enough people cared about the trans thing, so we're going to attach kids to it to try and really gain your attention, you know? But of course, Gaines accused Rapinoe of virtue signaling. I can respect the opinions that differ from my own. Everyone is entitled to think and speak independently, but I can't help but to think Megan Rapinoe would genuinely shiv any male who tried to take her spot on the U.S. women's national team. Well, yeah, of course. Now, Gaines later deleted that tweet. That's probably a bridge too far. But, you know, she later tweeted, you know, that was earlier the day. So, I mean, you've got that. And oh, by the way, back to the Bud Light thing to bounce around. Central Florida restaurant stopped serving Bud Light following trans sponsorship. This is called Grill's Tiki Bar. It was mixed reviews from patrons of Grill's Seafood Deck and Tiki Bar in Port Canaveral on Tuesday after the restaurant pulled Bud Light from the menu. It's a move that sparked by the company's partnership with Dylan Mulvaney. The brand sponsored a Bud Light March Madness giveaway, which Mulvaney posted on her social media accounts. If they think not selling Bud Light because there was a transgender person in a Bud Light ad, I think that's reactionary, said one diner, Matt Callahan. The owner of Grill's Bar and Restaurants did not want to be interviewed, but referred us to a statement on Facebook, which read in part, "We made the decision to remove Bud Light because of their support of something that is in direct opposition to our biblical faith. We believe transgenderism is a social experiment causing irreversible damage to a growing population of younger and younger children. We will not align with that in any way." You know, people talk about, their, oh, I'm trans or I'm bi or I'm this or that, and therefore my opinions matter. You definitely don't see that coming from people who are, religious. And the left will just say, well, it doesn't matter because you're religious. It's the same thing with the cake makers in Colorado, right? Bake the cake, bigot. It's like, no, I don't want to. That goes against my faith. So this thing isn't going away. It's down to a slow simmer, I suppose, as Bud Light continues to not tweet and hide behind hoping somebody else will screw up next. But people aren't forgetting. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you'll head on over to thepublica.com and join as a member today. Promo code The Quartering will save 50% off your first month. Help support independent media. Help support creators like myself, Sydney Watson, Lauren Southern, Anna Slatz, so many more that are working on this site together. And we'll talk to you again real soon.